You know, the right video case or movie poster can sell a movie to somebody who hasn't ever seen the movie, doesn't know anything about it. In fact, as a kid, that's what it used to do for me. Video covers and movie posters were how I judged movies. We didn't have YouTube, we didn't have a bunch of trailer clips, and plus I didn't like having movies spoiled. So I would literally go into a video rental store or the local library and just look at the video case and decide based on that if the movie looked good enough to see. I mean, my favorite movie as a kid was Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Well, the first thing that made me beg my mom to let me see it, she didn't want me to watch it as a kid because of the scary eel things going into the ears and stuff. But its VHS case reproduced this movie poster. This is an example, I think, of one done right. Look, even if you don't know anything about Star Trek, that tagline, "At the end of the universe lies the beginning of vengeance." And, you know, that picture of Khan and everything just really sells you on it. I mean, you have this character looming, you have these guys. I mean, you have these guys in robes, you have somebody running here, you have Kirk, Spock, and somebody you don't know. You have some sort of pitched space battle, and all of this coming together as one piece of artwork. It really sells the movie to you, and that's an example of one done right. However, lots of movie posters aren't done right anymore, and it's getting even worse with Blu-ray and DVD cases. I collect a lot of Blu-ray and DVDs, so I just thought it would be fun to, in no particular order, show you what I think are the worst piece of artwork in my home video collection. Alright? Just to be clear, I'm not claiming that these are the worst video cases ever, and I'm not even claiming that these cases couldn't, that there should be some giant, expensive thing on a Blu-ray or DVD, but these are all discs that I bought at full price at the time, and it just annoys me that you can't really show them off on your shelf because they just look terrible. And you would think when you're paying $20 to $30 for 2 hours of entertainment on a disc that they could put a little effort, and besides, they had a lot of these, the original movie posters looked a lot better than what they do. So you have to wonder why they didn't just crop those on. Why did they pay somebody to take time to design something like this? That Wrath of Khan thing movie poster I was showing off earlier, well, this is like the exact opposite. Free photoshopped heads, no artistic there, a lens flare, I mean, nothing artistic there, and just a generic shot of the Excelsior, a critic quote from IGN Movies, which I'm not sure how relevant that is. Why not quote some critics from the time it came out in, 1991, and just washing out all the color and taking up most of it with this. I mean, just so all the Star Trek cases look the same. You can fit cases into a theme without going that far. I mean, the Star Trek VHS tapes did it. They put the original movie posters on front, and on the side they had a border around them that was all the same color, and then on the side they had a piece of the Enterprise on them. But this, and when you put all the movies together, you had a reason to collect all the movies, because when you put them all together, when I was a kid, I always wanted all the movies because I could put them all together and you'd have a shot of the Enterprise flying at you. But this is just pathetic. $20. I spent $20 on this Blu-ray. I mean, if I didn't know that it was hadn't seen this movie before, that's the viewpoint I'm coming at it from here. I'm like a 6 to 10 year old kid who's just gone into the library, seen this tape, and whether or not I would have rented it based on what I saw there. This I would not have borrowed from the library or rented. And you can do this minimalism stuff correctly. I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, J.J. Abrams' Star Trek did it right. I mean, this has a sense of mystery to it. I mean, you have a shot of Kirk's face here, you have the classic Star Trek logo, and this would have intrigued me. I would have been like, And then you flip it over and you see Spock, and yeah, just seeing hints of the face and just the classic Star Trek logo, that would have intrigued me. But that's not what we got. We just got lazy Photoshop job. This, for the Blues Brothers, is one of the more baffling to me. Blues Brothers has nothing to do with comic books. Now, Universal, you do have some movies that have something to do with comic books, such as Ang Lee's Hawk, but I don't see it in this type of case. I don't understand why you're doing this comic book thing here. I haven't seen any of your other movies in these comic book cases, and this is a good release. It has a lot of interesting features, and on the side, it doesn't look too bad, but there are two problems with it. First, it's in these stupid, I mean, somebody should blow their brains out for thinking of these things. Steel cases where, look, see? All I've done is take this on and off the shelf, and already it's being scratched off. And you see, when the case gets damaged, the artwork gets damaged, because the case and the artwork are one and the same. Normally, if a case gets damaged, I can just take its artwork out and put it in another case. Not so with these stupid things. And they take up more space, and they're just heavier, and they cost more to ship, so it must have cost, Universal more to put these out. Not to mention making steel cases when everybody else is using, standard plastic. I don't know. I just don't know. What's wrong with these people? Here's The King's Speech, one of my favorite movies of recent years. A really good drama, but look at this. I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's just three people photoshopped together. You never would have guessed based on this that this was a movie that made over $400 million at the international box office, would you? No, it's just sort of bland. And another sort of bland thing, this is Season 4 of Stargate Atlantis on Blu-ray, and I can't for the life of me figure out what they were trying to do. I mean, you have this thing here. I mean, I don't know. It's like you have lens flare like in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, which nobody liked, so I can't understand why they're trying to make it look like J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. I guess that's a shot of the city, but you just have these three people just coming out of the water here? What does that have to do with anything? No shot of a Stargate, nothing. It's just and they give away a big spoiler. If you, like me, worked your way through this on Blu-ray because you didn't see it on the original broadcast, then they've just given away that Amanda Tapping takes over about, I think it was 3 episodes into the season. You had no hint of that at the end of the last season. So good job. Not only is it an ugly cover that has nothing to do with the series, but it also spoils it. Jerks. Good night. Alright, and here's another thing with these, Star Trek covers. I just found this. I just saw this. Yeah, that Star Trek cover. Okay, look. Look what they did for the Best of Both Worlds. This is only 2 episodes of the series. Look at this. Picard as a Borg, Picard not as a Borg. That sort of some sort of exciting shots. This would have intrigued me as a kid. Why do they put more effort into the cases for put these side by side. Which one of these gets you more excited about seeing it, makes you think that you're going to watch something special? They put more effort into 2 episodes of the television series than they did in the big budget movie. That's just idiotic. Oh, now you have something that's just... Ugh. Look. All Creatures Great and Small, Season 1. They got clip art from from the Hallmark greeting card studio that came with my, first Windows-based PC, and they just cropped free random Google image search images of the free leads on here. I mean, look at this. They don't even treat butterflies, birds, or turtles in this show. It's a show about vets, and look what they did. I mean, look at the aspect of that horse. I mean, it's just randomly put on here. It's not only that they just used clip art, it's that they used clip art and it looks like a child put it together. I mean, it looks like something I put together for like a Mother's Day card when I was like, 8 or something on the computer, and it's like they're just all randomly put together. You have the horse up here on top of the logo floating in midair, this little dog here. There's no pleasing way to look at it. You just have this calf all the way here, which seems to have shrunk horribly. This turtle who, I don't know if the laws of gravity stop working, because the Earth seems to be behind them, not under them. This turtle seems to be climbing up a wall. I guess he's Spider Turtle does whatever a Spider Turtle does. Well, he sucks at selling videos, that's for sure. This would not have gotten me interested in anything. I mean, it just looks like pure stupidity on film. I mean, it looks like something that was done for the UHF network. Okay, now we get into James Bond covers. They've released the classic James Bond movies on DVD, and on the Blu-rays and VHS tapes, they use the original movie posters, which always were good. They always had classic posters. So I have to wonder why they replaced it with something generic like this. This isn't really a bad-looking one. I mean, you've got the gun barrel there, you got James Bond, even though I'm pretty sure that's Sean Connery's head cropped onto somebody else's body. You have this random girl who, I don't think she's even in the movie, though, so, I'm trying to remember. Thunderball. I kind of fall asleep during some of the underwater, scenes. Endless underwater scenes, and, it doesn't help that it's the longest of the movies by a considerable margin, but it's just, why? But it's just like, this, as I said, this isn't that bad looking, but I do have to wonder why they chose it over the original movie poster. Now this, on the other hand, Diamonds Are Forever, they clearly want you to think that this is an entry in the Daniel Craig series, to the point where, since it's a silly plot involving diamonds and lasers, and it has Sean Connery not really wanting to do it, but them offering him a lot of money for a charity he was raising money for in order to get him to do it. Look, his head is clearly on somebody else's body. They've completely smudged out the background so you can't tell anything. It just looks like Sean Connery's wax doll got stuck in a snowstorm, and at the same time he's being ejected out an airlock of a spaceship. You can't tell anything from that. All in an attempt to make it look a little more like the Daniel Craig movies, I guess. Oh, and here, we all remember this. This is the classic movie poster, and this works here because you have, free names up here, Batman, and they just used, the Bat logo as to advertise Tim Burton's, what I think is now criminally underrated, Batman movie. But yeah, that was a very effective marketing technique. Well, look what they've done now. This is Adam West's comedy take on Batman, and look, they are clearly trying to get confused grandparents to buy this for their kids, thinking that it's the latest, thinking that it's an entry into Tim Burton or Christopher Nolan style movies. I mean, they're using the bat symbol from the Batmobile from that series, but look at it. You can't tell me that that isn't a deliberate attempt to try and just duplicate it. There's no reason to do that. You should have, bam, pow, biff. If you really want people to know what this one is and you're not trying to hide it, then you should have, the bam, pow, biff and all this other stuff. Instead, it's clearly that Warner Brothers hired the same marketing people who did those 10,001 video game systems that used to exist when I was a kid. Okay, here's You Only Live Twice, and I got a real problem with this. First of all, he doesn't even drive the Aston Martin in this movie, so what's it doing there? Second of all, it's that same stupid blurry background because they don't want you to know what the movie's about. They're trying to get fans of the Daniel Craig movies who for some reason seem to hate all earlier James Bonds to watch it. And I'm a fan of Daniel Craig, but I don't hate the earlier James Bonds. And it's clearly, again, Sean Connery's head photoshopped onto somebody else's body. Return of the Pink Panther. Google image search, white background, Google image search of Peter Sellers. I think from a later movie, because he looks younger in the actual movie than he does here. And Google image search, probably from a bag of that, of a Pink Panther, probably from a bag of that Pink Panther cement they used to sell when I was a kid. Yes, that was a thing that actually exists. And then they taint it black and white and pink. I don't know if they think that we'll be more likely to watch it if we think it's like Schindler's List and in black and white. I have no idea, but Superman the movie, too much wrong here, except the Superman logo is just coming out of Superman. Where is he? I don't understand. He's on the cover twice. Have Lex Luthor. You don't have any of the actors. It's just sort of there. If you're going to do this sort of thing, minimalized thing, then just make it the Superman logo. But don't put the actors there, but then don't put their names and don't have them do anything. Have some sort of scene, some sort of setup. And then the back of it just gives you a nude boy. I mean, would you have thought this movie was anything if this had been the case you had seen it as a kid? I wouldn't have. Ugh. One of my favorite movies of all time, reduced to this. Strangers on a Train. It's a guy grabbing a woman. It looks like he's sexually harassing her. There's a child's drawing of the train behind them. Yeah, it looks like he's about to rape her. And, it's just blurred up. You can't see their faces. It's obvious. Neither of these people are in the movie. And it just has I mean, that logo, okay, it looks like a train timetable thing, so marks there, but no marks on anything else. I mean, come on. I mean, nothing on here has anything to do with the movie at all. I mean, it makes it look like it's a thriller about some woman running away from a rapist. I mean, what on earth? Either that or it's supposed to be one of those new style love stories where, you know, like Twilight, where a man treats the woman really badly, but for some reason they get off on it. Get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty human. Well, yeah. Well, I'm sorry, I can't help it. I can't pick this one up without you. I mean, this is just like, what, I mean, the concept is okay, and at least they build up some sense of mystery by having some of the mysterious shots from the beginning, but it just feels lazy to me. I mean, you just have a random shot of an ape. I think that's Charlton Heston on a spit, you know, being tied to a log there, and just that. I mean, doesn't really get me excited. I mean, come on. I mean, come on. I mean, good night. The original Japanese Godzilla, finally on Blu-ray, and look what they do to him. It's just a really grainy black and white footage. I mean, doesn't it capture any of the excitement of the movie or anything? It's just sort of, I mean, oh, good night. It looks like that Loch Ness Monster photo that turned out to be a bath toy. I mean, I know that they used toys in this, but it's just so grainy. It looks like that they took something that was taken with a cell phone camera and just blew it up to this size. And you can do that sort of minimalism right. I mean, look at this. Look at Gremlins. Again, a good example of it. I mean, look. You have Gizmo here, and then you have the evil gremlin coming out of his shadows. In fact, did George Lucas steal the movie poster for Star Wars Episode 1? That famous one that he put out like a year before the movie was even complete, of Anakin standing in front of his home and the Darth Vader Yeah, he stole that from Gremlins. I didn't notice that before. Just when I thought George Lucas couldn't annoy me anymore. Psych. There's so many things you can do with it. Two guys just standing in front of a white background. I mean, my local news team does a better job promoting the local news. They at least put something on their background. I mean, look, the whole thing is just, wow, this looks so generic. I actually avoided Psych for years, watching Psych for years, and now it's a series that I love, but I avoided it for years because every time I saw it in a video store, I just thought, this has got to be the most boring show on the planet. Great Escape had many great movie posters. This is not one of them. Look, first of all, it looks like he escaped out of the place. It looks like Steve McQueen escaped out of the prison camp by riding a motorcycle. Why did they give him a motorcycle? I mean, the guard tower is there. What? How did he get this high up? There isn't a ramp, and they don't show and the ground is obviously different. This is obviously just composited in. It's obviously somebody else's head, somebody else's body with Steve McQueen's face badly photoshopped on it, and I just have to wonder what kind of idiots would give their POWs, who, by the way, are all Air Force people, so they know how to work on their planes, they know how to make engines work, a motorbike. And based on a true story. Not this cover, though. Dirty Harry double pack. I mean, come on. I mean, he's just broken the DVD case. And, okay, full marks, but you're just... Where are you? I guess you were such a bad cop you ended up spending a long time in purgatory because nobody would pray for your soul. I mean, you are a Callahan, so I'm guessing you're Catholic, Harry. Yeah, well, hope you get out of purgatory soon and have to stop, and can stop, you know, breaking the sides of purgatory. Although, you may get out soon if that hole gets much bigger. Skyfall, I mean, look. He's just standing there. What on earth? This movie made over $1 billion at the box office. You couldn't, I don't know, put something together besides him just standing in front of the generic gun logo? I could have put something, you know, better together, you know, in a few seconds. I mean, you know, using Google Image and my free, you know. Ready. Okay, now I'm going to let you choose. Take a look at this. Which is better, the Blu-ray or DVD? Take a look at them. The Blu-ray doesn't even really tell you that it's a science fiction show. It's just a guy standing in front of blackness and whiteness right there. This Blu-ray, this DVD has some color to it. Has the spaceship coming out of the cool starburst effect, so you have to wonder what's going on there. You know, he actually looks like he has an emotion. Here, it looks like they're propping him up with a steel rod. I don't get it. That's how you celebrate 15 years of one of the best science fiction shows of all time, is it? Well, not in my book. And the producers. According to this case, it's about two serial killers who eat people in a back alley. I guess they're cleaning up after Jack the Ripper, and steal women's legs. That's not even like a mannequin leg. That's clearly a real leg that they photoshopped there. It's two badly photoshopped serial killers. It looks more disturbing than anything in the Hannibal Lecter series of films. Sorry about that. The cheapo batteries on my camera died, and this camera doesn't have any way to connect it to main power. But anyway, yeah, I mean, look at this. This would be one of the most disturbing movies you had ever seen. I mean, he's like, hey, we got a woman's leg left over from that last prostitute we butchered, and what should we do with it? Hey, let's either use it as a prop in our show or eat it. Zero Mostel seems very happy about this. Gene Wilder seems like he's afraid that leaving this one leg behind will finally bring the authorities to their door. This has nothing to do with anything in the movie. I guess they didn't want to use any Nazi imagery, so they just put severed legs and Viking helmets, because that's so much less disturbing than Nazis. Oh, and here's a thing where I think they're both kind of terrible. I mean, here you just have, on the DVD, you just have Rocky jumping up and down on the streets of the, you know, Philadelphia, I think it's Metropolitan Museum of Art or something. And here, you just have a generic photo of Sylvester Stallone just standing there, and they use the same cover for every Rocky movie. They just put numbers at the bottom here. I mean, I don't know how you could say which is worse. I guess this one actually presents you with a pleasing aesthetic and a shot from the movie, so if you remember the movie, you know, or you might want to know why this guy is jumping up and down. This, I would think, is the cover to some sort of $1 DVD workout video if I hadn't heard of Rocky. Okay, just a second, I just realized that I forgot the worst covers of all time. I'll be back in a minute. Alright. if you're still watching this insanely long video of my rambling stupidly, are you ready for the horror that is the worst DVD covers of all time? Oh, darn it! Good night. The cat just knocked over the DVDs. Spider-Man's 1 and 2. Let me just adjust the camera. Look at them. These are the laziest pieces of garbage I have ever seen, and if I didn't know about the movies, they would also be confusing. First of all, they think that we're too stupid to know that the movie just called Spider-Man would be the first in the series. Did we ever need them to tell us that Star Wars was the first Star Wars movie? Heck, the James Bond producers get away with releasing their movies without any sort of numbering system, and the first one in that series is named Dr. No. How would you be expected to know that without being a fan? But this is just Spider-Man 1, really? You have 2 static masks, alright, that you obviously got off of Google Image, and a blue background. People on YouTube do a better job. When I made my own video cases before the ink got too expensive, I did a better job with the free photo editing program. All this. So you've got Spider-Man 1, and it's not identified as Spider-Man 1 on the side, so if this was supposed to help you find it, well, the only reason for this stupid number is maybe it would help you put them in order, but since it's not on the spine, you couldn't possibly see it on the video case. I mean, look at this. It's like the local weather forecast forgot to put in the map, and it's just like, oh, we have a couple of cheapo masks left over from Halloween, but that isn't anything compared to Spider-Man 2. Where are these two in relation to each other? They're obviously in some dimensional void. Doc Ock is just taken randomly from the movie, so is Spider-Man. At least you can see who they are now, but look at this. I mean, he's just blown up. I mean, he's just here. I mean, they're just... Where are they in relation to each other? Shouldn't Spider-Man be fighting Doc Ock? What's Doc Ock doing? Who's he looking at? What's going on? And what's more, to add to the confusion, they duplicated the 1 at the bottom with 2. Only, they also put the Spider-Man 2 up here. Now here's my argument. If I was a kid going into a video store and trying to work my way through the Spider-Man movies and I knew nothing about them, let's assume that I knew nothing about them. Alright? Given the latest trend is dividing, some stories into 2 or more movies, like The Hobbit, dividing it into 3 movies, I think The Last Hunger Games is getting divided into 2 movies, parts 1 and part 2. You've got the last Harry Potter movie was divided into part 1 and part 2. If I see something that says Spider-Man 2, and then 2 down at the bottom, I'm going to assume that this is part 2 of Spider-Man 2, that there were 2 Spider-Man movies split up, because of the way studios are doing this stuff now. So I'm going to be going around looking for Spider-Man 2 1 so that I can see the whole story, and it's never going to come up. And some video store person will tell me that I'm an idiot, but of course I'm just using my logical brain. And this one has the 2 on the spine, so you can put it and see it. So this meant that they knew you didn't need those numbers at the bottom. They knew that you could work out what order they came in just from the names without putting these stupid numbers there, but they did it anyway. Why? Just so it would make the case look even uglier. And then all of a sudden it goes all black up here. It's like... When I was a kid, I used to make covers for my VHS tapes, because I would record things like Doctor Who off of PBS, and I would make covers for the VHS tapes on my computer using stock art, and that would take 10 times the effort than this. I paid $20 each for these, and look at them. Oh well, I'll leave you with something good here. Look, I was pleased to see that X-Men Days of Future Past got a decent cover. Look, it's almost, I mean, they're still using Photoshop instead of hiring somebody to paint it, which I prefer the look of painted posters, personally, but look, it's got the same aesthetic as one of my favorite movie posters, Wrath of Khan. So, yeah. Please enjoy this while my blood pressure goes down. I don't know why I let these things bother me. Oh, yeah. I'm a fool and an idiot, and I just spent half an hour ranting about the covers of my Blu-rays. Yeah. And you just spent half an hour watching it. I don't know which is